Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. You I see.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come, we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I.
UIC Liberty TV. Change you can trust.
Hello, everyone. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of UIC Liberty TV. I am Chase Neal, the Vice President for the County of Surrey and the Deputy General Secretary for the UIC, also Minister for Public Works, Infrastructure and Housing. Now, tonight's topic, Wake Up Jamaica, Take Off the Blindfolds. Tonight, we will be looking at personal sovereignty and personal accountability. Now, before we start, let me see who has joined us. All right, not seeing anyone yet. Not seeing anyone in the comment section, but we'll go ahead and YouTube, on Twitter. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy the show. We plan for this to be a very engaging one. Carol Spence, One Perfect Love, welcome. Cool Guy, hello to you too. Welcome for joining us on this platform. All right, now, as I said, we'll be looking at personal sovereignty and individual accountability. Now, what does that mean? What does now we're going to be looking at a video that shows how the system has been robbing us of our personal sovereignty, of our choice and our right to our life, to our liberty, and to our property. Welcome Sonia Ellis and Vivian Young. Thank you for being here. All right, Naika, let's that video and then we return.
Someone must speak the truth and we must be honest about these things. So we can't have black children born in debt because they want systematically to trap us and to continue the slavery, systematic slavery, because slavery is not physical anymore. It's in the systems, the religious systems, the economic systems, the political systems, the education system. Nonsense, this education system. There's nothing that we're teaching our kids. You and I are product of nonsense education systems, boo. Somebody gotta tell them. Somebody gotta tell them. 30% of nothing. Even if it goes to, even if they say pass mark is 80%, it's 80% of nothing. There's a German kid right now, as you and I speaking, subject to mining. But when you look at his continent, wherever he comes from, there's no minerals underground. But the boys and girls are being taught about mining and minerals. Me and you, there was no subject called mining in high school. What mining were you taught in high school? What's the process to start a mine? Just tell me basics of mining. But mining is a strong pillar, probably amongst the strongest pillars of our economy. So that means that there's a child in Germany somewhere that's being prepared, in Asia somewhere that's being prepared to come and run this economy, while your kids are being prepared to come and work for those German kids that are going to come here in future. Because your kids are being taught how to do nonsense, how to label an insect. Insect to label insecting. Listen, our economy in this country, it's agriculture. Our economy in this country, I can even break down what agriculture is. Mining, manufacturing. Why aren't those things primary subjects in primary school, in high school, so that you've got a basic understanding of your own economy? That means some people must come from somewhere to run this economy, because your kids were never taught anything about this economy. So we mustn't even dare to want to argue with me, not you personally, anyone, about the education system or any other system in this country. It's designed to continue systematic slavery and suppress the people of the day, and make sure that the future belongs to those who are prepared for it, definitely not your children.
All right, there you would have seen this presentation on how the system has been defrauding that country, and in the same way it defrauds us and many of our African brothers and sisters around the world. Welcome Delton Hamilton, Joseph Patterson, Lenworth Duffus. To answer your question, Delton, yes, you may ask questions and they be answered. Bear in mind, though, that this may be after the presentation, or if it can be allowed during the presentation, then yes. Now, everyone joining is a very valued member of the United Independence Congress. He is in the U.S. Diaspora, a member of the U.S. Diaspora group, Brother Keith Romans. He has been on a number of our committees, like the JUMP Committee, Jamaica Upliftment Monetary Program Committee. He has also been a part of our fundraising committee, and he has been integral in many of our online productions. Welcome, Uncle Keith. Could you tell us a little about yourself before we move forward in tonight's show?
Well, thank you, Chase, for having me, and thank you guys for tuning in. It's a beautiful evening here in Texas, and I'm sure it's the same back home. And I'm happy to be here. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I think I've done that a few times, but again, let me just kind of recap. I'm, I have very strong spiritual conviction as a Christian, and I have spent most of my latter days very involved in counseling young couples, my wife and myself. And in addition to that, I've been in the United States close to 40 years. I came here to study and ended up staying due to economic reasons. We are economics. What are we, Chase? Economic
Refugees.
What? Refugees.
Yes.
Whatever. And when I came across the UIC, I kind of look at it and said, wow, this is sound really interesting. So let me see if this is something that I can support, because you have so many organizations coming up with different ideologies and different missions and different plans. But when I started diving into what the UIC stood for, I was very pleased. And tonight, again, Mr. Chase, they chose a topic that's going to be covered: individual sovereignty and personal accountability. And this is a part of the manifesto that touched my nerve. And I said, if we get this right, then a lot of people would really know why they really need to support the UIC.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chase.
All right, Uncle Keith, you just restated the topic for tonight. Individual sovereignty, what does that mean for you?
Well, you want me to go ahead and talk on that? Individual sovereignty is actually opposite to holding a government, a king or a queen, as the sovereign over you and your life. Individual sovereignty is where we value each individual as sovereign. And this we can kind of relate back to the Bible, where you know, God made us as all special. We're all equal, and He value all of us. We're all very valued, and you know, because He valued each of us individually, whatever came about when they decided to crown kings and queens and prime ministers and leaders and start holding those people as being sovereign was against God's principle. And man, I'm stepping over the line here, right? Because that's not what we're taught. We're supposed to be holding each individual sovereign. And when you talk about the individual sovereignty, you talk about who the sovereignty has to do with highest legal authority, the greatest status in authority or power. You know, it you have some other words that describe it as the absolute, the ultimate, the dominant, the utter, the manichaeal. But what actually is holding the individual as being golden. And what we want to do is have in our country where from the person is conceived, and of course Mr. Patterson talk about girls who conceive, how they need to get that care from the very early stage, prenatal care, so that they can bring the kids in the world that have the best, can be the best that they can, you know, can be the best that they can be. And so in holding the person individual, the individual sovereign, means that we see every person as as golden, as the potential to be the best they can be for our country, for our economy, for each other, to pull each other up, to hold hands with each other. And as a result of that, we're not going to see that person as a person who's not a die-hearted Jamaican. We don't want to see a person, that person as a die-hearted something else. You know what I mean? Where people get hang on to one side and say, I believe in the right or I believe in the left. And that's how we rival each other, and that is healthy. No, that's not. I mean, you know, I run a company. I don't divide my company in two, because if you divide the Bible tells you a kingdom divided in two will not stand. You know what I mean? So it is not a good thing. So the people who gave us those models are people who give us the model to divide, to conquer us, as Mr. Patterson always say, and to take advantage of us. And we need to now start seeing where as the UIC stands for United Independent Congress, where we need to be united and fight for the one cause, and work out our problems, because we can work out our problems by not without dividing. So that's pretty much holding each person each individual as being very golden. Now, talking about the constitution that they're trying to reform now, and they're trying to tell you that, okay, we want to have a new constitution, right? A republic, which is a fake republic, as we all can see. It's not genuine. The constitution that they are now setting up is where they're going to mimic what they had before. Why do they have to do that? Why don't they have a constitution that have a foundation of individual sovereignty and personal accountability? Now, talking about accountability on the other side, accountability is the acceptance of responsibility for honest and ethical conduct towards each other. That's just plainly, that's what it is. And the UIC's policy, when I read the manifesto, the UIC believes in everybody's have a right. And we respect your right. And because we know diverse country, we have people of different races, different religions, cultures, and different customs. As Mr. Patterson said before, we don't believe in dividing. the people. We don't believe in hard pushing some people one side and let them feel different from the other. We're about uniting. You know what I mean? So under the UIC, yes, under the UIC, we believe in uniting everybody, but at the same time, keeping people accountable. Yes, sir. And we can answer. We can talk a little later. Answer some questions on it. No problem.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Keith. Before I move on, I'd like big up some persons who have joined us in the comments. Wade Noble, welcome. Magalian, welcome. Dr. Coretta Brown Johnson, welcome. Thanks for joining us, VP Brown Johnson. Wade Noble, big up yourself. All right, I see somebody here as host. All right, maybe it's co-host. Well, welcome, host. Jonathan Ryder. Good night to you too. Desmond Mary, welcome, brother. Sewing and Gotcha Life videos. Good night to you, Juliet Chambers. Agro Valley Farm. Everybody, hope I didn't miss anybody. Roger. All right, great. Thanks for joining us, guys. All right, you said some things there, Brother Romans, that stood out for me. You spoke to the definition of in that definition you spoke to highest form of authority. Uh, as it relates to our present constitution, the highest form of authority or recognition as the person of worth is in the crown, that is the king, and the parliament that represents the crown. So right now, they're more than we. There's a song, after them no more than we, but the reality is this the sovereignty, the highest form of sovereignty based on our system resides in the parliament, which represents the crown, which has the highest form of sovereignty, and the people are subjects to this sovereignty. So the way it is
Gosh.
organized, they're more than we. But we know that the reality is that every man, say man, that every person is born free. It is our natural right to be free, and our natural. So
Yeah, you're breaking up. You're breaking up real badly.
giving people the right to be free, or the right to be sovereign, we recognize is
You're breaking up, Chase. I'm not quite sure if they're hearing. I'm not hearing you because you were frozen. But
wow.
are
Oh, am I
you
back?
were frozen for a while. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you're back now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing. I have no
Yeah,
idea at
but
what point I was cut off.
no, you were cut off maybe for the last four things that you said are five. So we just didn't hear what you said. Yeah, it's been a while.
All right. So I was saying that the UIC recognizes and promotes our personal, our individual sovereignty, which means that if we break
Right,
it down, we recognize all of us right to our life. Our life is ours. Our life represents
right,
our present. Am I being heard, or am I still glitching?
Yes, yeah, I'm hearing you now.
All right,
You're
great,
very clear to me now.
great. Our property represents our
Right.
past, what we have done to earn the things that belong to us. And our liberty represents our present and our future, the possibility of doing what we will with those the things that belong to us. So sovereignty really takes into ourself, our life, what we own, what we have rightfully earned or has been granted unto us, and the initiative, the choice to do, to be as we choose to be, so long as we do not infringe upon the rights of others by whether by force, like with big and with bad, like what obtains in the present system, or by fraud, which also obtains in the current system, to take away another person's life, liberty, or property. Now, what this is saying is that the UIC rate all away. UIC rate you and understands that you are the best thing that has ever happened for you. And because that is so, we are committed to creating an environment that brings out the best. You deserve it as a sovereign entity. Now, I'd like to jump back to the video that was played, Sir Romans, right before I introduced you. The gentleman was speaking about how the system has enslaved us, created people who are born in debt. It has created an education system that is nonsense, as he puts it, and I wholeheartedly agree. I used to be a classroom teacher. I taught in the classroom for 12 years, and I left because it felt like I was um, robbing the students. People say I'm crazy when I speak like this, by the way, but teaching students to just regurgitate information and then give them numbers is a numbers game. I call that grades. No way prepares them. So I was dissatisfied with robbing the people's children and calling myself a teacher. Because at the end of the day, these children, based on the curriculum that is being taught, do not learn tiered for life. So in the video that was played, an example was given that there are kids in Germany and kids in Asia, students learning mining when their own countries had no minerals to mine. And when they have received this education, where do they go? To the African countries that have the resources to mine there, while the Africans themselves don't know anything about mining, which is such a flourishing industry in their countries, which does not benefit them at all, by the way. But that was the example that was given. Do you see any parallels to their own society, Sir Romans?
Absolutely. And guess what? I just when I listened to that presentation by that young man, and just like many of the presentations that we watch nowadays, they are pretty much highlighting injustices so that we can wake up. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that if we do not wake up, then nothing is going to be done. Because I'm sure even since Marcus Garvey, highlights of injustice were there. I mean, he did that, and unfortunately, they saw him as being very, as an enemy of the people, because what they do is try to tell people otherwise, like they're now doing back there in Jamaica, where they're telling people that whatever the UIC stands for is intimidating, and it is so unfair to the people, because because they give their reason, because they try to teach the people from school, their way of education, so that people just get it brainwashed into believing that's the only way. For example, the whole idea of a two government platform fighting against each other, and not is actually split the people in two so that the people see each other. Oh, them over there and we over here, and that's what tear down most countries right now. If you follow Rwanda with Kigali, one of the first thing he did when he took over, he made it. He told the people nobody belonged to different tribe anymore. We are all Rwandan. And what he did is make it illegal for them to claim to be tribe to fight against each other. Let us all come together. So that's one of the first things that you have to do is find a way to unite the people, which is what Mr. Patterson has always stressed on us. And what this young man is saying, he's rebelling and he's explaining to us, look, these are just the simple examples of what they do so that we can know who are the they and not see them like people now and say Tivoli and those that live in West are different people and they are there and where are we, and then to the point that they start we start killing each other over nonsense. So there's nothing intimidating about the philosophy. What the UIC is saying, individual sovereignty is mean we hold each individual as being golden, being sovereign, great potential for our own country, starting from the household, starting in the community, starting in the wider country. We hold each individual sovereign, but at the same time, we people accountable. Will mean we'll hold them accountable for any wrong they do, because we believe in your life, your property, and liberty is so important, and everybody have a choice on beliefs based on their culture, based on their ethnicity, based on their religion. We trust that as long as you do not use your choice, rob, or rob, that's what it does. As long as you good and great if you use your because we not in a flat way if you don't cheat them or steal from
All right. I think you're glitching, Sir Roman. So I just he's gone. All right. So Sir Roman's raised some points there, and I'd like to comment on a few of them. Recognizing the sovereignty of everyone, beginning in the household, in the communities. Now, as it relates to the communities, a lot of districts and towns, a lot of communities have no good roads, no good water supply, and so forth. Now, if you were recognized as a sovereign person, then the government would ensure that your needs are taken care of so that you become the best person that you can be, because guess what, you are deserving of it as a sovereign entity. Now, as it is, we are not set up to be the best versions of us that we can be, although there is enough resources to take care of Jamaicans. Right now, the wasted in political corruption is in trillions in Jamaican dollars, even more than the budget that is set aside each year. Now, if we were respected, then that would not have been the case. And then every Jamaican would have had access to good quality roads, good quality water supply, good quality nutrition, housing, education, and that was touched on in the video a while ago. Now, what many persons may not be aware of is that the deplorable education system, yeah, and I call it for what it is, creates criminals, because our citizens leave school without being qualified to become a citizen, a well-rounded citizen of the country. They're unable to work with how to work in groups and teams. People, we don't know how to properly do jobs, whether it is uh, self or our own businesses, or we're working for other persons. We do not know how to be good employees or how to be good managers of our own businesses, because school, the education system, failed to teach us how to be responsible adults and good citizens that contribute to nation building and to our own self-development. Now, how are we supposed to learn if even our parents, who before were products of the same system, then who is there to teach us? And many of us are left struggling by the way. Now, we don't know how to be productive citizens. We don't know how to, for the most part, we don't know how to provide for ourselves productively. Um, at the Marcus Garvey commemorations on Sunday, for example, at IRI FM, I heard someone calling for the capital punishment to get rid of some people. And I know that there are many persons who may have that sentiment. Kill them off and get rid of them. But if we pay attention to research, we see that that in no way stops crime, nor does it solve any problems. And you can check it out after, if you don't believe me. The way to solve crime is to address the social issues that create crime. The poor education system that teach us not to think for ourselves. We look at, and some persons may say that poverty is not an excuse, but it is a factor. We have to ensure that children, everybody, get right nutrition so that their brains are equipped to think positively. And we don't look at that. We don't pay any mind. But if your food is your fuel, and you are not getting the right fuel for your body, the right fuel for your spirit, how is it that we are going to expect that we are going to operate efficiently? No, the system locks out the citizens from participating meaningfully in the economy. It blocks us from thinking critically because we just don't have the tools, we're not giving them. And then we're not getting no good food from morning. So some of us turn out well, and some of us, especially those who may not have the support, are role models or become persons who take more from society rather than give. The entire system is designed to benefit those at the top who are the ones seen as sovereign, while the middle class and the lower class, dog, nyam supper, because we're not sovereign. We are subjects for them to help them achieve the best for their lives. We don't matter. But the UIC is saying enough is enough and time for that done. It is time for all persons, all Jamaicans, to truly be Jamaicans who recognize their worth and their sovereignty. However, with rights come responsibility, which means that it's not just you deserve this, you deserve that, but your accountability must be into consideration. So the UIC will ensure that not only will we protect and promote your right to yourself, to your life, to your liberty, to the things that belong to you, but also ensure your personal responsibility. And we be looking at, and that features into accountability. And we be looking at that more in depth as we go along. Now, I'm going to yield the floor back to Mr. Romans. He's back. And then we're going to be looking at our 10-point plan and how the 10-point plan will ensure our personal sovereignty and what that means for our sovereignty and our responsibility. All right, Sir Romans, welcome
Thank you,
back.
Sir Neil. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me well?
Yes, hearing you well.
Okay, good. Yeah, I like how you stress on that individual accountability, because even the big companies and their shareholders, the people who putting money in the companies, are accountable for what they do and what they dictate in the process of the business growth. They're all accountable. And of course, unfortunately, in our home country, that is something that is very lacking. I was listening recently to a radio station, and they were talking about people who they have found wanting, who are found wanting of doing, some stuff that are not not good. People who gain riches through untransparent means, some means that are very shady, and even the present leader is not willing to step up to hold them accountable. And of course, someone was saying that most likely he's one of those that need to be held accountable to. So that's why he's not willing to do that. And this is something that is acceptable, is accepted through the system, because it starts with those people who people claim who hold sovereign. In each community you might have people who they said, or they are dans, or they are leaders, self-proclaimed leaders, and they do that so that people can hold them sovereign in their way, but yet they don't hold anybody else sovereign, because they can treat people like dirt. And unfortunately, that happens. And it is something that is from the top. It is something that is practiced from the top. So individual accountability is extremely lacking in the society. As a result of that, it is accepted that if someone want to extort someone or defraud someone in order to reach a goal, they can do it. Whether they are doing it defrauding someone individually or defrauding the entire country by stealing from the resources that the people pay in their taxes, all those things, because they're not held accountable. And then what they have done, which is what is very common, is that the Integrity Commission is totally overtaken by the leadership of certain of the people who do not want to be accountable, because then they can get away with it. And all those things are just totally wrong. But as you were talking about education, Sir Chase, what they did in Rwanda, I was following Rwanda. What he did, he said he wanted to make Rwanda the Singapore of Africa. That's what he wanted. He said he used Singapore as an example. And he started out with education. So 1/3 of the budget went straight to education, to educate the kids from they are young and teach them the right things. Teach them about their history, teach them how to be sovereign, to hold each other sovereign, how to accept being sovereign, rather than transferring the sovereignty to the governor general or the prime minister or someone in the community who figure that they are the Dan. You hold yourself as being sovereign, but then you know that your sovereignty come with some responsibility, because you're accountable for whatever you do. And you just make sure that whatever you do does not infringe on the life, the property, or the liberty of anyone else. In other words, make sure that your choice does not hurt someone else at all, or steal from someone else, or thief somebody else at all in any way, whether it is through extortion or through you know, defrauding or outright stealing, because that's when the government should hold you accountable. And in that case, then you don't have to be worried at all about anybody doing that to you, because you cannot do it to someone else. And that should be a part of the fundamental education of the kids from there in school. So in other words, you know that it is not that you're going to hurt someone else because you don't agree with them, or it's not that you're going to go and fight your friend outside because of some nonsensical thing, because you know that's not wrong, because you're hurting him. You know what I mean? And you're not going to cheat him because you know that that is wrong also. So, I mean, this would be so great that we have these things from fundamentally, from in school, you know, from the fundamental level, you know, from lowest grade. And then we also bring it in the household to teach the parents, because we know we have to catch up with them. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, Sonny.
I am glad that you brought that up, because a part of our education plan, um, the UIC education plan, is a digital library for those persons who may not be in school. So when you, our supporters, have spread the word to your circles and gotten the message out to Jamaica, because the media don't want people to hear about we. When you would have gotten the word out and overcome the media blockage, and then we are elected into office, then the UIC education plan will come into effect. And so through the schools, we will be teaching our young people um, about their own personal worth, their individual sovereignty, and they will learn about how their body works. They'll understand how their body works. They'll understand how human relationships work, and they understand how money works, which will empower them to become their own smaddy. I think Miss Lou, this the term is smadification. So so they become their own person and not beholden to be subjects to persons who think that they are better than anybody else. This system create them that way. We will totally get rid of that system. Now, for those persons who may not be able to go back to school, a feature of the education plan is a digital library, so that everyone can access this information freely. And so we will reach Jamaica, so that we understand that as Jamaican citizens, we are sovereign persons, and we are not subjects, let people subject to a sovereign crown. We not in that. No, we are going to look at, as I said, the, the different aspects of the 10-point plan, and how each of these will serve to strengthen our sovereign our sovereignty, and also, which we should not forget, our personal accountability. But before we do that, we go to the comment section. I see some comments here. Agro Valley Farm says our parliament does not represent the people. PNP and JLP are factions representing the interests of a few people who are the wealthy few and the politically connected. Oh, yes, this is the reality in Jamaica. Agro Valley Farm also says that things will not get better for the black mass in JA under PNP or JLP. And that is true. The UIC, according to Wade Noble, and I endorsed it, has a better system to lift Jamaica out of 80 years of reversing man-made property and economic stagnation. And we'll be looking at that as we explore the 10-point plan. The miseducation system, this is Agro Valley Farm in JA, is designed to keep the black mass in JA in their place to preserve domination of the economy by the minorities as it was under chattel slavery and British colonization. And you know, we see it even in business. It's hard for a black man create a business in Jamaica and it's profitable. What a system. And those foreigners can come in and easy set up business and we go work for them. This system, we have to fly out to work for people. Back breaking what they do here to send back the money here to really make a living. Is that normal? People watching, do we see this as something that is desirable or normal? We need to change it. Vivian Young asks if there is no candidate representing North Trelawney in the next election for the UIC, would supporters of the UIC be able to vote for the UIC? All right, no. If there is no UIC candidate in a constituency, then you will not be able to vote for UIC representation in that constituency. Because of this fact, I urge you to help us to find them, those worthy people who, when I say worthy, I don't mean in the sense nowadays, in the present situation where these people more than anybody else. I mean persons who have good moral background, people who are of the highest probity. Let me break that down. I don't want to use big words. People who their integrity is not under doubt, unlike certain MPs who are under investigation. People who you don't have to question whether these are good people. These are persons who really do not have any nastiness or corruption associated to their name. As long as you can find people like that, people who mean Jamaica good, introduce them to the UIC, lead them to UIC Liberty TV, to our website, uicjamaica.com, so they can sign up, we can vet them and get candidates in every constituency in Jamaica, because if they're not there, you cannot vote for them. We can always say vote UIC, but are not there, you can't vote UIC. You can only wish that UIC was there. Also, if you do not donate and help us to get donations, even if we get the candidates, they may not get the appropriate amount of marketing to the people, because this thing takes money, so that we can vote UIC. Anyway, moving on to the comment section so we can get to the 10-point plan. The UIC will create thousands and thousands of jobs. It's not that the UIC will necessarily create these jobs, Wade Noble. Is that the UIC will take off the hold on the system that the government has that prevents you from creating your own job. And the UIC will empower you to find solutions and provide supply for the demands that people have. For example, what is service that people need? Now, what the UIC will do is enable you to think, to see, to analyze, and use your talent to provide services that other people want, and take off that hold that prevent you from entering the economy and making your money, without them trying to rob you and overtax you or block you totally, or prevent parts from coming so you can't manufacture. Somebody in the comment section spoke about manufacturing being paused. It's because it's so expensive to manufacture, and all the tariffs and so forth that prevent people from getting the raw materials, and even the education system not allowing people to think outside the box. So all of that will change. So indirectly, we will create thousands and 10,000s of jobs, but really more like empowering the people and showing them the way. Hey, open up the job then. All right. The system, Jasmine Power said the system also blindfold the eyes of the people. That is true. And as I said, we need to get the word out, because many people don't know about the UIC because the UIC is being blocked on purpose. And there's another sense in which the system blinds the people in that it, Mr. Patterson would have termed it bread and circus. Give them, bribe them a little with a little money, entertain them, and do not allow them to see the true reality. Divide us, and Sir Romans would have spoken about divide us among party lines, orange versus green, so that we don't see that they're playing us. So yes, uh, we're being blinded in many ways. All right, welcome Marceline Bennett. Good night to you too. Neswa Komoda, welcome. Poverty system-driven game is actually, well, poverty is a political symptom, by the way. Thank you for that, gem there, Neswa. So poverty is a really a political thing. Can research it too. All right. So we go now to the 10-point plan. Now, let me see if I can screen share so that you can see. From my time in the classroom, we talk about different learning styles. So some persons may absorb what I'm saying when I speak. Some people may want to see. Like myself, I'm a visual learner. All right, so the first point is, am I still being heard?
I'm not. We're
Can you hear
not
me?
seeing it. We're not seeing it.
Oh,
Did you
oh
try to?
my.
No, we didn't see it at all. Yeah.
Okay, not seeing it. Oh, okay. Has it come up yet?
Yes, I see the first, the
Oh, it's on screen.
youth employment program. I can see that.
All right, great. All right, so the first point on our 10-point plan is a youth employment program to ensure every high school graduate who does not go on to university has a job, learns valuable skills, and is kept out of gangs.
Yeah.
No,
Can I just add something to that,
this,
Mr.
okay,
Okay.
yes, sir.
One of the thing, and from the perspective of Jamaicans abroad, and I think we have not stressed that enough, that the UIC believe in uniting all Jamaicans abroad, at home and abroad, and there are a lot of us who are economic refugees in other people's country, and there are also many of us who have gone abroad and have made it very well and wish to come back home to establish businesses and to create jobs for the people there. And that's where we will be coming in also as people, Jamaicans who have been abroad. The UIC pledge to encourage those people to come back, give them all the resources. And we're not here to hit on foreigners, because sometimes we know foreigners will come in and they can create jobs. But at the same time, we want to make special effort to attract those Jamaicans and their families and whoever else they have to come back home and create jobs. And that's where we will be able to have people through the Youth Yes program getting employed and don't have to be looking at doing idle stuff or trying to migrate, but people will have better paying jobs with people coming from abroad also. You see what I'm saying? So in addition to what you're saying, there are people being creative in the education system that will be set up, where people will learn to be creative rather than learning what they're learning now. They'll be learning things that are more practical, more, they can do businesses, they can be creative, they can make the best of what technologies have out there to make the country better. And those are some of the things that will be done. But as I was saying, from perspective of a diasporan, I mean, that's where the diasporan will be coming in to help to bolster that program, the YES program also, to make sure. Because one of the things that UIC stand for, which the other systems do not stand for, is encouraging our own people to come back home and to be a part of our economy and to come and enjoy the country. Because a lot of us are longing to come home and enjoy our land, the land of our birth. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for adding that dimension to it, Sir Romans. You did clear up that we are not against foreigners coming in and starting business. Um, we are not, but as Sir Roman said, our people must be empowered to create businesses here too. And the fact that the Jamaican diaspora, with the various experiences and the differences that they would have gained overseas, would come to add that diversity, that variety, and opportunity to the labor landscape in Jamaica, so that we create much more jobs. Now, um, this first point on the 10-point plan in particular speaks to really empowering our students who have left high school and university. I am a cadet officer, by the way, and one thing that irks me is the number of my cadet students who have left school recently, who have not yet attained 17 years of age and so cannot go into a hard program. They have not matriculated into university, so they're sitting there. They cannot work at 16 years old, and they're home doing what? No, this gives them too much time to fall into idleness. You know, there's a saying we have in Jamaica: the devil find work for idle hands, and it devil really find work for idle hands. And not whether we look at the devil as a spiritual being or the system or the criminals which are created by the system. The devil does find work for idle hands. Now, under the YES program, and this is one thing I like about South Korea and Japan, every student who leaves high school or university knows exactly what he or she is going to do. Now, unfortunately, because of the system we have here, we don't have that. So if a young person does leave high school or university and does not know what sort of job he or she will do, or they have not planned for higher ed, under the YES program, we will allow them to direct their youthful energies into something positive, which leaves them with less time to go into gangs or to end up with teenage pregnancy, or to let their talent whittle away in being unproductive. So, with this first point, we ensure the sovereignty of all Jamaicans by ensuring that all Jamaicans are gainfully employed, which feeds now into their economic stability and their financial sovereignty, and also our collective national security. Less people, less fodder for gangs to really prey on. So with our increased safety comes our security in our life, our property, and our liberty. So we see that already the first point of the 10-point plan is contributing to our our individual sovereignty. Now, the second point of the 10-point plan, that the second thing that we aim to do based on this 10-point plan, when you have elected us into office and have ensured that we are in office, is creating a modern police and a national defense service that treats our police and soldiers with the respect and salary they deserve, as they are empowered to protect the life, liberty, and property rights of every citizen equally. Now, working as a law enforcement officer and a military person is really a sacrifice. Um, it may sound strange to persons who are not a part of that life, but you literally no longer belong to yourself. when you become a police officer or a soldier, your life, your way of living becomes a service to the state. You are literally publicly owned. So if you want to go home to your spouse and something comes up, you have to turn back, go back, and put yourself in the face of danger. And your life, especially when you are on location, is dictated by somebody else's orders. Now, although we do believe in liberty for everyone, the fact is we do need a defense service and we do need police officers. And this sort of environment is necessary effective running of military and paramilitary operations. So if a man or a woman going to give up their entire life in service of others in a career where it is not guaranteed that they will see the next day, it is fitting that they be properly paid in relation to the danger of the job and the sacrifice that it demands. So our police, our soldiers, all persons in our national defense services must be adequately compensated. There should be no longer any issue of right or left because police and soldiers are supposed to be taking out their frustration on the public. Um, a case in point, the Port Maria police station in Port Maria, St. Mary, is in deplorable um, they have been approached by many of the state agencies, by NGOs. People have been lobbying for them. Even UIC St. Mary candidates have been lobbying for the station to be fixed. There's sewage water coming in the station and making officers sick. The scent that comes from the evidence room and the room where there are a lot of papers, the sewage rotting the papers and the scent combining. Many times officers have to be out of the station on sick leave because of the deplorable condition. What sort of environment is that for public servants? These people will not be equipped to provide us with the law enforcement and the security that we need. We have police stations where there are no vehicles at all. How respond to public calls and emergencies? There are Whitehorn Barracks of JDF in St. Mary was out of uniforms, and people have to be wearing sneakers and borrowing cadet uniforms and things like that. This is the state that our police and soldiers are in. Now, how can we expect these people who do not have the tools and do not have comfortable working conditions and are not paid properly? We see where the police chairman was indicted because he dared argue for overtime pay that was owed to the police officers, even though they're still not being paid properly. They're not being paid for time that they did. And then we expect effective service from them. No, the UIC says that is rubbish, must stop, and we will treat them with respect so that they can carry out their job effectively as we demand efficient service and responsibility from them. And these category of persons will be integral in ensuring that we all hold each other accountable for protecting each other's right to our life, liberty, and property. All right. Do you want to add anything, Sir Romans, before we move to the next?
Oh, boy, you have said so much, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I'm
You have
hearing
said so
you.
much. You have said so much, and I mean, when we talk about individual sovereignty, we look at each person as being sovereign. So we look at the person in the community as being sovereign, and likewise our service police, the police in our service, our security people, because the thing about it is that we know the sacrifice that they make, and they should have been held golden I mean, when we talk about individual sovereignty, we look at them as goal, value. Their value is goal to us and to our society. Likewise, each individual is a value of goal to the community, to their home, and to the wider society. So what I'm saying is that that just kind of tie in with, if we actually make that the fundamental of our plan, and we work for that and make sure that that is a part of everything that we do, then what will happen is that everybody will respect each other. Everybody will see each other as someone who's worthwhile for the society, who need for, and then those people who are playing those roles will be highly respected, well paid, and nurtured. And then we will have a good relationship with each of them. Then you won't have police having to be doing business on the side, owning 4 or 5 taxis on the side, as they are saying. I've seen it where they are
Yeah.
doing so many businesses. They're forced to do it, and then it work against them, because then they're being blamed because they are doing it. And then of course, when people are forced to do things like that, they always tend to commit some type of fraud or exploitation, or take advantage of something in the system. So all of those things are package of it. And those would be fundamentally against what the UIC stand for, because the UIC do not believe in taking advantage of your fellow man or anybody else in any way, by hurting them physically or financially. You know what I mean? So we do not believe in that. So that all of that will tie into and now with individual sovereignty come personal accountability. For those people who are in position, they will be held accountable for their whatever they do that is wrong. So all of this would all tie into making the system so much better for us. You know what I'm talking about? And we can't put this to those people now who are in power, because they have no accountability at all, and they're covering up for each other. So we can't vote for them or promote them, because it's the same old. And of course the the um the system itself, which consists of the 1%er or 2%er, you know what I mean, of the private sector, they're the ones who are perpetuating it. It works for them because they can dictate here and they can dictate there to take advantage. Also, they are a part of the people who are not held accountable either. What a system we're in! Wow.
And what you just said ties into Mr. Patterson's comment. Let's say time up to the colonial masters, their colonial parties, and the PSOJ oligarchs who fund and control them. So that's the system there at the top. The PSOJ oligarchs, the plantocracy, the Bakramasa, and some black mass up there too, some black backer up there. um, and they are funding the parties, and they call the shots, and the faces of the parties is what we normally see. We normally cuss the Andrew Holness holding, and we don't see that it is more than these persons at the front. It is a system that is controlled by those who fund it and call the shots, and that is what we are against. It's time up, but it is not enough, everyone, for just me, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Romans, Naika, and the UIC to say time up. We all must voice this time up if it is that we mean business to take back our country. And how do we voice our time up? By funding and creating our own party, our own political movement to enter office and really change around this system for the benefit of our progeny, our children, and the entire Jamaica. Because really, it's our children we feel it. We feeling it, but our children are gonna feel it more. So we need to change the system, and just saying time up will not change the system. We must do the work. It is not up to me alone as an MP candidate to do the work. In fact, only if you push me to work, if I feel, if it is that I'm not working as I'm supposed to work, you must push me to work and empower me to work by donating and volunteering to make the work lighter. So if we all as Jamaicans don't get on board and volunteer, spread the word, and donate what we can, because we have a fund it enough, because best believe the PSOJ and the external colonial interests who want to do what they want to do with Jamaica and its resources and its people, best believe they're pushing money into JLP and PNP to ensure that they do their bidding. So who is going to push money in our movement to take this back from them? We have to do it. And me and Sir Romans and the few uniters compared to the rest of Jamaica alone can do it. Jamaica, entire Jamaica need to become UIC, and I don't mean a political party. I'm talking about the philosophy, the objectives. Every one of us needs to recognize it's time up and do the action to really bring the time up into being. All right, so the other we're going through the other points on the 10-point plan. The third point here is ensuring every child has a nutrition, education, and health care. The updated one would include housing also, that they need to succeed and provide the opportunity for teachers, nurses, and doctors to be highly paid so that they can afford the quality of life. So if we are going to ensure that we have the optimum um, to our life, to our liberty, to our property, we have to ensure that our self is receives the best care. So when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to education, health care, and housing, we have to ensure that these are optimum. So UIC will ensure that Jamaican eat the best food, and we will see how that will come into being further in the 10-point plan. We have to ensure that Jamaicans getting the best education, and when we say best education, we're not just talking about learning how to read and write and do arithmetic. We have to look at also being empowered, make the right decisions, being empowered to live longer and live better. So we have to ensure that everybody have somewhere good quality to live. Our mind is sharp and ready to attack all the challenges and of life. Our health care ensures that our bodies and our minds are taken care of. And the teachers, the nurses and doctors who are the vanguards of the system must be highly paid so that they can give quality service. Our divesting crown lands is and making every Jamaican a property owner, erasing the garrisons, the ghettos, and squatter communities. That is also um, a plan to ensure that our personal sovereignty or individual sovereignty is ensured. If you live in a rumble tumble down area, you can be ensured that it is most likely that your life will reflect your surroundings. So, as Mr. Patterson would have explained, everywhere in Jamaica under UIC government will look, feel, smell, come in like you're there right in our tourist resort. So, we must build Jamaica for Jamaicans so that Jamaica feel good about being Jamaicans. It's this thing where people living in the ghetto and squatter communities are not sure of whether their house going lick down, not sure of whether they have electricity or water. The services that they should be getting, it needs to stop. And it's not that we don't have the money, as was already explained. 1 billion US at least goes out every year due to political corruption in the trillions and trillions of dollars. What if that were stopped and that was funneled instead into the development of Jamaica citizens? That is what we aim to do. Now, the part that says divest crown lands mean with there being no more crown, the lands belong to the people. That means every Jamaican is an owner of land and a share in the land. So that land that is being managed by the government on behalf of the people to whom the land belongs, each time business is done on it, such as and we are going to be looking at organic farming further on in the 10-point plan. Whenever these businesses create profit, then a fraction of that profit goes to every single Jamaican who is born and who has paid their 10% taxes. So that just living in Jamaica, you earn dividend on business done on your land, not the government land, not the crown land, but your land. So you see already every Jamaican would have been better off under a UIC system of governance. All right, sir, Romans, will have to leave us soon, so I'm giving you the floor. If there's anything you want to add to that before we move to the other points.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, hearing you loud and clear.
Everything here that you have repeated, sir, points right back to individual sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we hold everybody as being golden, each person has been golden, instead of
Yeah,
holding the queen or holding the government or the prime minister or the governor general, then if we point to the value of each human being, each person, that will lead us in giving them the best health care, the best education, the best housing, and the best everything. That would be the priority of everything. Even the idea of people coming in to invest, everything should have been focused on what we are doing to benefit each sovereign person in Jamaica. How can we make their lives better off? How can we create better housing for them, better roads for them, make their communities like the tourist resort? All this money should be coming in specifically to add to the value of of each individual, and
exactly.
that just tied all up together. I remember when I visited the UAE, United Arab Emirates. What they did there is everybody who is coming from abroad, all those people who are coming in to do business are welcome, but they have to partner with the local. They have to partner with the local. So you have to have a partnership with a local in order to do business in the country. And then it is understood that a certain percentage have to be paid too. And I'm not saying that's how Jamaica have to do it. I know Mr. Patterson have very eloquently explained it. But just to bear that in mind. So if we hold the individuals as being sovereign, then everything should be pointed towards making life better for them, making their way of life. So, in other words, instead of the taxes going towards padding the pocket of those people who sit on those boards, or padding the pockets of those politicians who are getting the money to spend, all of those money should have been going priority wise towards the people in each community, so they can be the best that they can be. Education, healthcare, housing, nutrition, all of those things should be big priority, and that's what the UIC is about. And those are the things that attract us to the UIC, and those are the things that we know the other people won't talk about, because they are set in their ways for that 80 years. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
just want to express that before I go. But I really, definitely, um, these are some of the things that just make so much sense. The 10-point plans is just phenomenal. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, Keith. All right. So what I'll do now is go through the remainder of the 10-point plan, and we wrap up as soon as possible. I'm looking at your comments, Wade Noble. The UIC shall break the chains and shackles free and the UIC is ready and waiting to rescue Jamaica out of 80 years of reversing the man-made poverty and economic stagnation. But and this is true, but what I want to really emphasize to our listeners, to our viewers, is that when we say the UIC will, it is not just that the UIC as a political party or a political movement will, because we know Jesus Christ. Cool. So I do not view myself as a savior. What we are saying is that the policies of the UIC, the plans, the governance structure of the UIC, what we are revealing to you is designed to create a better way of life for Jamaicans. And I can do my bottom dollar, though I don't have a lot of money at all. I can bet you that when we have created a better Jamaica through UIC, then we will impact the world, because countries will see what is going on and people will demand their sovereignty because Jamaica has done it. See, UIC demanded because Singapore has done it, but we're going to do it better than Singapore. And we're going to do it better than USA with these policies that we have put forward for us to work together and bring into being. So I don't want you to think that when we say UIC will do it, if Chase Neal not now do it, he can't do. If Winston Wright now do it, he can't do. If anybody in the UIC personally not do it, it can be done. These are we must buy into and work together to really put into government office and put into government policies so that Jamaica can become thieving their moniker, the place of choice to live, earn, and so forth, as what the Prime Minister would have said. But this is not just mouth talk, no. We will create Jamaica that brings out the best in all of us. All right, so the other points of the plan, eliminating the toll roads, ensuring that Jamaica has a good quality road network in every community, and introducing 21st century rail and ferry services across the island. Now that speaks for itself. Transportation is a very important factor of society. If we want to get anything done, then we must rely on transportation, whether it is to go to school, to the hospital, whether it is something such as mail or delivery of packages. We have to ensure that there's optimum transportation so that we can have efficient life. If transportation is not up to speed, then the economy cannot be up to speed. And if the economy is not up to speed and serving the people, then the quality of life of the people cannot improve. So we need to fix our roads and really bring first class 21st century transport services to Jamaica so that efficiency becomes the order of the day. And when Jamaica becomes efficient, then Jamaica becomes orderly and Jamaica becomes safer and more productive. And where some artists love talk about rich, Jamaica becomes richer, but not rich for the sake of hyping and bragging off, but rich for the sake of living quality life and making the best of ourselves. So another point on the 10 point that of making our food, our water, and our energy secure. We're shifting from mining. Now, mining in Jamaica is big business. Jamaica is the eighth highest producer of bauxite in the world. There are times when Jamaica is the fourth highest producer of bauxite. It fluctuates, but it normally stays between 7 and 8, which means that Jamaica is a powerhouse in providing bauxite and aluminum and all the other byproducts. Yet that does not benefit the people because that money goes to foreign corporations and those political figures and PSOJ figures who have stakes in it. None of that capital comes to Jamaicans, although we make big money off of mining. But that aside, mining destroys our environment. Jamaica is among those countries that has the best drinking water. Our water quality is almost incomparable. but mining is destroying our water table, destroying the quality of our water, destroying the ecosystem, so that animals and plants that are found only in Jamaica, scientists them call it endemic. These plants and these animals are dying out. It is impacting our environment. So mining is not worth it. So what UIC will do is look at the alternative energy production, right? We have solar, we have geothermal, we have wind, we have there are a number of alternative energy solutions that will provide even more than what is going on, than what we have from Tiefin JPS. No. And there are ways of money, such as through organic food um, farming, that will bring us big money, even more than mining, because Jamaica's soil is so rich, and the potential for agriculture here has been untapped. Jamaica was once the jewel of the British colonies precisely because of agriculture, precisely because of um, the cane farming and the coffee farming. One time, banana was such a big thing too. If Jamaica was once the the cash cow of the British colonies because of the potential of the country for agriculture, why can we not make it a cash cow for ourselves without the abuse that was foisted on our ancestors during chattel slavery? We have the technology nowadays to take all that backbreaking work out of it and to make agriculture once more respected and profitable. So organic farming, which will give us the food that benefits our body without the added chemicals, will make our bodies, our health much better, and also create more capital for Jamaicans, just ensuring our individual sovereignty, because no, we do not have to depend on other people and all this borrowing and this mining that's destroying our country. No, the other points: eliminating poverty with a workfare program that provides every Jamaican a job. The workfare program is the opposite of welfare. Instead of handouts that take away from our people's ability to help, we, for example, any Jamaican who is unable to afford the nutrition, the health care, the education, the housing that was mentioned before, will be taken care of by the state. So we take care of them, but it's not a handout. They pay back for it through working and paying their 10% income tax, which we look at as another factor of the 10-point plan, and their 10% GCT when they spend in the system. So if it is that a person, for example, getting $500, 10% out of that, $50 is paid in tax, and then 450. And when they buy, they pay 10% out of that. But guess what? Then get them quality food same way. What they can buy will be provided for. They get their quality housing, education, and they're taken care of. But they pay back for it by being productive. So it's not a handout. You are taken care of, and you are producing. So it's workfare, not welfare. No, under this, every Jamaican will have a job, and with every Jamaican contributing to the economy, then the economy becomes stronger, which provides for each Jamaican and eliminates poverty eventually. So everybody gets on top of their feet, and by working and ensuring that those who are not able to take care of themselves are provided for while they provide for themselves, we get people out of poverty. And so, with the loss of poverty, means the gaining of independence, which means the gaining of sovereignty. Now, let us just go through this: getting rid of the monarchy, the governor general, the constitution, no more person sovereign among ourselves, but we each being sovereign within our own selves, becoming a truly independent, non-partisan constitutional republic. No more JLP versus PNP, no UIC even against anybody, just Jamaican citizens working together to create a better Jamaica for themselves. Never again should we have a dictator as a leader, nor a dictatorial system over us. So our governance system will get rid of this. No, this is particularly interesting. This the ninth point in light of what is going on now. Investigating, prosecuting, and convicting all politicians and associates, whether dead or alive, who have participated in any form of corruption that can be proven via a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, including an amnesty program that provides credible information to the commission. Mr. Romans would have spoken of those politicians who are now being investigated. Now, under UIC government, if they are really found guilty of becoming rich of the public funds and in criminal ways, then they will be prosecuted just as the man who took the Governor General Aki and was locked up, they will get locked up too. So they're no better than we, they're no more than we. Everybody is sovereign and everybody is smaddy and equal. And if you break the law as a regular citizen, you break the law in the same way as somebody who is in political office. Now, the final point is eliminating property taxes and duties and replacing them with a single 10% income tax from all sources and a 10 CT to eliminate poverty and provide for emergencies. So you take home more of your pay, your money. You work it, so you keep most of it. 10% goes to the government to provide for those common things that we need, the public services, and 10% GCT will eliminate poverty. Now, the collective 10% GCT will be used to provide for those persons who can provide for themselves, and a part of it will also be saved to compound and gain interest, so that we no longer have to borrow from any other outside country. So IMF done with under UIC government. So Jamaica will be properly able to fend for herself and take its place among all the other countries. So we were show you a video of relating to the 6 politicians who are being investigated by the Integrity Commission. But unfortunately, technical difficulties will prevent that from being done. So, but it's been in the news, so we can just refer to it. Am I being heard? I see something on my screen.
Yes,
Oh, great.
I'm hearing you, sir.
Oh,
I'm hearing you.
all
You're
right.
totally gone.
Awesome.
But
All right, great. Now, we in the 10-point plan, we saw we will get rid of the colonial system with the Governor General representing the monarch and so forth. We have spoken at length so many times about the UIC governance system, but just to give a brief summary of it, everybody who enters political office will, and by the way, there will be no party system being recognized. People will apply for political office, be vetted, pass a governance test. There's an interview, and those who pass through this process will be provided for equally by state funding. So no more private funding of elections, because how it works nowadays is the man with the most money, or the person with the most money, or the most capital win the election. That should not be. Everybody must be on equal footing. So a rich man and a poor man have equal chance of running for political office, so long as they mean the country could have good plans and so forth. Now, the leader of the government and the head of state will be one person, a national president who is voted in by the citizens of the country. No more voting in a party or voting in MPs in a party for your favorite leader to win the seat. MPs will have to work on their own to be voted in because they will not need to ride on the coattails of a party leader to be elected. That already cuts down some of the corruption. MPs will not have access to the people's money, neither will senators, who, by the way, will be voted in, elected per parish. 14 senators no longer appointed by party leaders, no longer loyal to party or party leaders, but loyal to the people by whom they were elected. And these senators and these community representatives, that's what we call the MPs, now do not have any access at all to public funding. They cannot become ministers of government. So they keep to their side of the law, the legislator. They make the laws. While the government ministers now must be suitably qualified and experienced subject matter experts who will be nominated by the executive, vetted publicly by the Senate to ensure there's good quality people coming to manage the areas of government for which they will be responsible. And then those persons who would have passed the vetting process now are elected by the community representatives, which we MP in our current situation. So we now can better trust our ministers now, and they will now be monitored and supervised by the legislator, the MPs and senators, who can go touch the money. Because unlike the present system where the legislation is also the executive, so there's a conflict of interest, the conflict of interest there is now being minimized. Now, under this system, and there are many other checks and balances, which we're not going into now because we have done it already, and we will go into it further in other lives. Under this system, what obtains now, where these 6 MPs allegedly are corrupt from thieving, that will be minimized. So that means that how much trillion Jamaican dollars going out of the country and into the pockets of political actors, that will be severely cut down so that the money goes where it's supposed to go, which is for the benefit of Jamaican peoples, to ensure the best of lives. And we see personal responsibility comes into play, because if our heads are held accountable, you best believe that the smallest man is going to be held accountable too under a UIC government. So all funds will go to the betterment of Jamaica and Jamaicans, so that not only do we recognize their personal sovereignty, but in fact and reality, your sovereignty will be ensured because it will be provided for by the finances of the country. So people, if this is what you want, help us to make it a reality. Get involved, get on board, share the live. If you haven't done so, tell people to watch it and make we get this done, because time up, time done. These people need to come out of government and wasting with things them. We need a better Jamaica, and only we can do it. Only we Jamaicans can do it, because them already proved that we can't rely on them. So guess what? We have to do what it takes. So people, vote UIC, promote UIC, donate to UIC, volunteer in the UIC, spread the word of the UIC. Let's get it done together, stronger together. Only way to do it. All right, Sir Romans, I've kept you past your time, 9 minutes. All right, I need to release you.
Well, thank you, sir. No problem. But I just want to remind the people that look inside of your communities and find people who have integrity, people who maybe a humble man, maybe a pastor, maybe a person who's a JP now, and someone there who will fit what we stand for in the UIC. A Christian person, there's nothing wrong. As a Christian, I do that because the UIC have no gripe against anybody because of their spiritual conviction or their religious conviction. Everybody is allowed to make their own choice. And if you choose, once you make a choice that you're not hurting your neighbor or your fellow man, or you're not stealing from your neighbor or your fellow man, you're good to go. And if you're using your choice for good instead of using it for evil, we love you. And those are the people we are looking for, people with integrity, people who can represent and who can come and who are teachable, that can represent the party or the movement. Encourage them to come and join. Encourage them to come and find out about the movement. There are a lot of them who are very frustrated with the 80 years of what is going on, the antics and the fighting against each other and the corruption, all those type of things. Encourage those people to come and join, and encourage them to interface with the OIC and learn more about it, so that when they join, they can know that they're in a movement that make best for Jamaica. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Everybody,
Cheers.
walk good. See you next time. One Jamaica, stronger how together. Take care.
Stronger together. All right.